Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Sean P.
This is Big Root.
And this is The Brothers.
I'm tired of the same rap songs. Every new hit's just to fucking sing along. Rap is so boring, now correct me if I'm wrong. It's like they took the art out the fucking art form. I'm tired of the same rap songs. Every new hit's just to fucking sing along. Rap is so boring, now correct me if I'm wrong. It's like they took the art out the fucking art form.
And we're back. Today is Saturday, August 31st. Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, for those that are off on Monday.
This is true. Can't be too judgmental or theoretical. Not everybody has a day off, but this is considered the official or unofficial end of summer.
Yeah, and summer actually is come to a quick end. We've had like spring, not spring, but fall weather the last couple of days.
Well, I do feel that the weather is not yet done, the hot weather, but you're right, the season has turned just like that. And so we're in the fall, we're into football, the start of the NFL, and today's topic is Jay versus Cap.
Yes, sir.
And
no, I'm saying there's a lot of talk about Jay-Z's deal with the NFL.
Right, exactly. So just to recap our listeners, what's the overall controversy been the last couple of years with Colin Kaepernick, the former quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, and where does Jay-Z play into that? And just to recap everybody who maybe forgot Cap and the knee.
Well, Colin Kaepernick was the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. In the light of all of the police violence against unarmed black youth or unarmed black men, he would take a knee during the national anthem in protest. And most of the owners and the NFL in general didn't take too kindly to that, and he was unofficially blackballed from the league.
True. And if we go back, this has just been over the course of 3 short yet very instrumental years. The irony is back in 2016, there was a preseason game, and Colin Kaepernick chose to sit during the national anthem. And there was some feedback after that from a former Navy SEAL who actually asked him to take a knee out of respect for the soldiers and everyone who sacrificed for the flag, the anthem, whatever we want to say, and just, to show some kind of respect and support. So, in fact, Colin Kaepernick was actually being supportive by taking a knee. He was supporting that Navy SEAL's request. And initially, the NFL and the 49ers were very supportive of Cap. They said he had a right to express himself. He had a First Amendment right. He wasn't hurting anybody, and they fully supported him. And that was 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And then we moved into later that year into the off season. Presidential candidate and eventually the 45th president, Donald Trump, decided to make it a political event.
Yes, he tried to insinuate that Cap was disrespecting the flag, disrespecting the troops, had no respect for the U.S., and should be thrown out the league. And everybody else who was kneeling should also be thrown off the league and fired, in his words.
Exactly. And he didn't even try to insinuate. He did. He basically said that they're un-American, they're against the flag, they don't care about the country, they're not appreciative. And the NFL should suspend or fire those sons of bitches, what he said. So the president of the United States of America basically stepped on the First Amendment, like literally walked on the First Amendment and said that others should do the same. He made it a political event. It spread along party lines like most things seem to. People said, I'm either Team Cap or I'm not. And that came to mean you're either part of the system or you're against the system.
Exactly. And, you saw it spread so much, in fact, that when he was looking for a job, certain teams wouldn't even bring him in for a tryout because they were feared that their fan base would have a big backlash.
Exactly. And that goes back to the president making it a political issue and making it a divisive issue. So I thought it started as a football issue, but it was taken to another level. And then anytime there's a line drawn in the sand, people always fall on one side or the other, and that's what happened with Cap. And so what was the outcome of this? I mean, Colin Kaepernick was a Super Bowl playing quarterback, was at arguably the height of his career. He has a pretty successful 2016 season. And then what happened to him?
Well, he overplayed his hand because he wanted a new contract for a lot of money. The 49ers said basically shop yourself to other teams, become a free agent. If you get a better deal, fine, you can go. Unfortunately for Cap, no one saw the value in him or thought maybe bringing him on was going to bring too much negative publicity. He got no offers. So basically, he's out the league.
He's out the league. And that was 2017, spread into 2018, and here we are in 2019. Now, Colin Kaepernick did sue the NFL. He did take legal action. There was an investigation into their actions because he suggested that there was collusion and that there was a mutual benefit to disenfranchise his opportunity to play in the league.
And it would seem that the courts agreed because he was paid undisclosed sums of money.
Exactly. So taking all of that in context, you have to assume that Colin Kaepernick was blackballed.
No, man, I don't understand it. I want something good to listen to. I demand it. All the real artists on another planet. And me, I'm the last MC still standing.
Was compensated for the actions of the NFL and his lack of opportunity in playing thus far. And that's pretty much where we are today. That's where the situation kind of wound up. So, for our listeners, Big Roo, where does Jay-Z fit in all this? Because I thought he was a rapper. I thought he was a business mogul. And now he's involved with the NFL.
Well, I think Jay-Z, in his mind, is trying to become a social activist. I know he did a piece along with Time Magazine, I believe, on Khalif Browder a couple of years ago, trying to bring some light to that. So I think basically he's trying to make money, number one, because I think it's always about making money, but finding avenues where he can maybe link up with organizations to make more money.
Well, it's funny you said that all in one kind of statement, because on one hand he's trying to be a social activist, on the other hand he's trying to make more money. Now the two don't have to be mutually exclusionary, but generally when you're trying to do for others, you don't necessarily benefit. And conversely, sometimes when you benefit yourself, you're not necessarily doing for others. And that's something that needs to be kind of, understood. Because sometimes people say, oh, somebody's doing something for us, and they're not necessarily doing it. There might be some kind of symbolic victory, you feel good about what's happening, but tangibly they're doing something that's in their own best interest. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that when you kind of promote that no, I'm doing for you. Like, I'm actually trying to draw attention on the behalf of other people, yet I'm directly profiting from it, and they're not so as much. And I just think that's something that needs to be focused on. Because sometimes, like, for example, if I get a job, that doesn't benefit my neighbors directly. I mean, it benefits me. I'm getting more money. I'm able to take better care of my family. Doesn't mean that my neighbors are benefiting. They might feel good that I have this job and, oh man, he looks good going to work every day. He's doing a good job. He's representing us. But tangibly, I'm not helping those people.
Yeah, I guess you would be if you were able to then give them all jobs. That would be a benefit to them. But technically, just getting your job is only benefiting you. The only benefit they would have is if you making improvements to your home and bring up the property value. Exactly. Maybe it would help them as well.
Exactly. Now, if I get a job where part of my job or part of the opportunity is to employ other people, it is to give them other opportunities, that's different. I can say, no, I'm doing this to accomplish this for others as well. And that's what I said. There's a difference between symbolic victories where, okay, everybody's happy that I'm doing well or you're doing well. It's a difference when you're literally helping other people. That's part of your mission. And I guess that's the emphasis. Are you directly helping other people, or do they just feel good seeing what you're doing?
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess with this year, going into the 2019, in fact, about maybe 3 weeks ago, there was an announcement between Jay-Z's Rock Nation and the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, who's so well loved by all parties.
Yeah, even his own players love him, right?
Exactly. So he's just the creme de la creme of sports commissioners. But they had a joint announcement, and they basically said that they were forming some kind of a partnership or some kind of arrangement.
Yes, they will come together for a collaboration to try to help fight some of the social injustices that's going on out there in the world right now.
Okay. And immediately after that, it seemed that there was some pushback on Jay-Z, because going back to Colin Kaepernick and his stance with the NFL, because the irony, I guess, for a lot of people is that the initiative that the NFL and Jay-Z were discussing was largely the initiative that Colin Kaepernick was focusing on. That was the point. I'm trying to draw attention to the injustices that are going on, specifically the shooting of non-threatening, unarmed black individuals, black citizens, and largely just the injustices against minority groups in America. So here he is. I'm trying to draw attention to these issues. I get blacklisted. I get compensated for it, so clearly I was blacklisted. And then a few years later, you're now partnering with someone else to draw attention to these issues, and you've never kind of closed the book with me.
It's true. I mean, you would think this type of collaboration would have somehow tried to incorporate Colin Kaepernick into it. He could be, not say the face of it, but be incorporated, his opinions. Again, he's the father, godfather of this whole movement. But in a sense, it's just basically, in my opinion, if you remember last year, the NFL had a hard time getting somebody to perform at the halftime show. All the hip-hop, not say black artists, but minority artists basically were like, no, we stand with Cap, we're not going to perform. Now, in their mind, we get Jay-Z on board with a partnership. He can now talk to these artists. Oh, we need you to perform on the Super Bowl Sunday, and we have an inside man now to get this done for us. Right. So on their end, that could be what they're looking at.
Right. The first thing I'll say is that it's just that if Colin Kaepernick was quote unquote blacklisted for drawing attention to something, and then you now want to focus on the thing he's drawing attention to, like you said, it would be natural to invite him to be a part of it. Now, if he decided he didn't want to be a part of it, that's his choice. But you would first say, listen, you know what? We realize that some of the issues he was talking about are important and do need to be addressed, and we would like to work with him, incorporate him in some way in that process, right? He is the godfather of that movement. Furthermore, like you said, there were some issues during the search for artists for the halftime Super Bowl, and it wasn't just black hip-hop artists. It was actually a wider group of artists that still felt that support for Kaepernick. So it wasn't even just a purely racial thing. There were just certain artists. Obviously, Rihanna was one. We don't have a list in front of us, but there were certain artists from other genres of music that also said, no, we're not going to perform while he's basically blacklisted from the NFL, because there's simply a thing called right and wrong, and a lot of people felt that he was being wronged, and they weren't going to support the NFL while that was happening. So it wasn't just like a hip-hop, he's one of us. It was really more, until you fix this problem, we're just going to stay away. And then to your point, the NFL decided to reach out to Jay-Z and...
Basically they're going to be, he's going to be setting up concerts and streaming with different artists, also selling merchandise. All these proceeds are supposed to be going to help affect change.
Yep. So I think to your bigger point, basically, we're going to link up with Jay-Z, partner with him. He's a mogul. He's from one of these marginalized communities. He's built himself up.
He's an influencer.
And if he's on our team, and we have this initiative where we're going to help these people and deal with these social issues, now we're on board, right? And that raised all kind of red flags. I think the first one being they didn't reach out to Colin Kaepernick, which would have been the easy way to start, right? Colin Kaepernick's on board with this. I think Jay-Z put out a statement saying that he reached out to Colin Kaepernick and he was on board with this, which was later refuted by, I think, Colin Kaepernick's girlfriend.
Yes.
That wasn't the case. So big red flag there, because either he was or he wasn't. And more importantly, if he was omitted, why was he omitted from the movement that he, quote-unquote, started? And then what was the real purpose of it? And I think that's where today's episode falls. Jay versus Cap, corporatism versus social activities or activism, and what's really going on here? Like, is this really about furthering a social action, or is this about making money?
I think it's about making money for Jay-Z. I think it's about trying to appease a certain segment of the population for the NFL.
Well, I think,
and basically leaving Cap out to dry.
Well, exactly. And I think that's the point, because, again, the whole point of Jay versus Cap is you have general social activism, which, like I said early on, a lot of times the people that are involved or lead or start those movements don't benefit from it. Like, there's question how much Dr. King benefited from the civil rights movement. It wasn't something where I'm personally going to make money and get a bigger house. It's something that needs to be done, and I'm going to be a part of getting it done.
Exactly, because if you look at Dr. King, he was a PhD, he was a preacher, he was well established. If he went about his life, he probably would have had a very comfortable life. But he saw the rest of the race struggling and felt that it was his duty to try to uplift them.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. When you do social activism, a lot of times it's not for you to benefit. I'm not doing something for me to get back. I'm doing something because there's a greater need, and I'm trying to help that need. On the other side of it now, you do have corporatism. You do have enterprising, where I'm going to do something that I'm going to benefit from, and then I can choose to help people with the proceeds that I've acquired or the success, the status that I've gotten. But they're not the same thing. They're not. Corporatism and social activism are not the same thing, and it needs to be stressed.
And I don't understand it. I want something good to listen to. I demand it. All the real artists on another planet, and me, I'm the last MC still standing.
So that's where we are with Jay versus Cap, and so you did some research. You came across some interesting articles and videos.
Yeah, well, basically, some of the things that I was looking at, they were saying that what Jay-Z's doing on partnering with the NFL, he actually have done with this partnering with other entertainers. It wasn't something that required them to really partner with the NFL and, not involve Cap. Because basically, all their part right now is doing is we're going to be putting artists together, doing concerts and shows, and selling paraphernalia, which you could do without being partners with the NFL. So again, that's why I said it's more of a win for the NFL than it is a win for the social movement.
Well, good. I think it's good you highlight that, and I think only certain people thought it was good. As I said before, if I get a job, if you get a job, that doesn't benefit our neighbors. right? So if they see us dress up every day in our suit and we go outside and a limo picks us up, we get in the car and we're off to get a big paycheck, I'm glad that they're happy for us, but that doesn't put food on their tables. That doesn't help their kids go to school. So once again, sometimes when people say that, you're doing something for us, it depends. If I'm doing something from a corporate mindset, no, I'm really not doing something for you. And companies in general, like Facebook, Apple, they're not doing things for the community. They're doing things for themselves, for their shareholders. They're a business.
And unfortunately, what happens a lot of times is they partner up with a celebrity who then we internalize it and say that we've arrived and it's doing something for all of us, which is totally not true.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. That's a feeling on us. So in other words, if people watch me get in a car and go to work and they feel good, that's on them, right? I'm not going to blame the company that sent a limo for me. I'm not going to blame myself. If you see me go to work and you feel proud, that's something you have to question. Like, why am I proud that he's going to work? I got to go to work. I got to do my job. So you're right. A lot of time, corporatism takes advantages of people's beliefs and their external support, and they don't question, well, how does this really benefit me? And then on the other side now, we have Cap, right? You're somebody who arguably was in the height of his career, who once he made a decision, stood by it. And he sacrificed for it. He paid prices for it. He was eventually compensated for it. But you have to say at every step, it wasn't for him. In other words, I'm not taking a knee for myself, right? I have my car, I have my house, I have my paycheck. This knee is not for me. I don't benefit personally from taking a knee.
True. I mean, for the most part, he's well enough recognized that I don't think the police are stopping him and trying to shoot him unarmed. So, again, it's just for something he was doing for us as, people who were being gunned down by the police unarmed. It wasn't really affecting him.
Yeah, it's just a matter of right or wrong. Because in addition to him, a lot of other players in the NFL, in other sports, in different levels of sports, you had high school players taking knees. Right? As recent as a couple months ago in 2019, I forgot which sport it was, but you had a white athlete who took a knee. Rest of his team stood, he took a knee. Why? He said that was my opportunity to say that I know that there are things that's going on wrong in this country, and I want to show my support, not just with Colin Kaepernick, but with the issue, with the social issue, what's going on. So you can say that all of these actions are far more significant than what the NFL is doing, especially when you realize they're profiting from it. And again, so this topic of Jay versus Cap is really about corporatism versus social activism. Because again, if I'm doing something to make a profit, why would you think that's benefiting you?
Well, one of the things I was watching said that the NFL has a list of charities and different organizations that they contribute to every year. And they could have included this as, we're going to contribute X amount of dollars from our revenue towards these different issues, and that would have been it. Instead, they're basically making you work for any money that you're going to get. And again, where's most of this money coming from? The same people that they're trying to benefit. Because who's going to be buying this powerfully or mostly, and who's going to be supporting the music? The people that you're supposed to be trying to help.
No, exactly. So I think, on Here in the Brothers, we wanted to draw attention to this because there was a lot of buzz going around, and there was a lot of belief that, and this is before the last announcement that came out yesterday, the day before, about the deal. It was just in general when Roger Goodell and Jay-Z sat down to make their announcement, and a lot of people really started having to debate, was this good for us? And Jay-Z even made the statement that, it's time to move past Cap and the knee. And I think that's the point. What does past Cap and the knee mean? And if you look at it from a corporate mindset, it means one thing, which it probably always meant, which was we don't really care about Cap and his knee and what he's trying to draw attention to. From a social activist mindset, though, we have to say, okay, this movement was about something. It wasn't about profiting because he wasn't benefiting from taking a knee. nor were all the people that were taking the knee as well. They weren't profiting from it. So what were they trying to accomplish, and have we got to the point of that?
Obviously not. As far as I can tell, people are still being shot unarmed at an alarming rate by the police. Most times the officers are not held accountable for their actions. I just read that the officer that shot Tamir Rice got a job now at another police department in Ohio. So that's, basically he was never held accountable for shooting Tamir Rice, and now he has a job as an officer someplace else.
Wow, I did not know that. And again, that draws great points to what this episode is about. So just to keep the focus on Jay versus Cap, we're really talking about, from Cap's point of view and from a social activist point of view, no, nothing has really changed. The needle hasn't moved. Yet Jay-Z, from his point of view and a corporate point of view, we've moved past Cap's knee and this movement to now we're going to profit. And I guess the next question is, when we say we're going to profit, who is the we?
No, the we is Jay-Z.
Okay.
And maybe the artists that he's pushing to perform and make the content that they're going to use.
Okay. And that really goes to, is that the we that the movement was about? Was the reason that Colin Kaepernick took a knee, and so many other players and so many other individuals in different sports and walks of life took a knee and raised their voice and marched very often and try to draw attention? Was it so that Jay-Z and certain artists could perform for the NFL, profit with the NFL? Was that the goal? Was that the mission?
Obviously, most people will tell you that's not the goal. The goal was supposed to be to actually affect change where if you're someone of color, you wouldn't be shot unarmed at an alarming rate over other races. And if you were shot, people would be held accountable. There would be real consequences for their type of actions. None of these things are being addressed by what's going on here. This is simply a way for the NFL to do what they want to do, which is get back to business as usual. Jay-Z's going to make a profit, and Cap is left holding the bag.
Yep, that about sums it up. Well, here on The Brothers, we always like to make sure as we go through an episode that we bring different attentions or focus on a particular issue, and that we'll always try to lead our ending of the episode with a call to action, something we can do to move things forward. Big Group, do you have any thoughts or any calls to actions for our listeners as far as Jay versus Cap, corporatism versus social activism? Have the issues and needs in the black community been addressed by this particular episode? Meaning, okay, Colin Kaepernick took a knee, was banned from the NFL, and Jay-Z signed basically a recording merchandising deal.
Well, my call to action is don't get hoodwinked by the smoke and mirrors. If Jay-Z comes out and saying, we're past kneeling and, let's just go forward and take care of our own issues this way, but nothing is really being done, there's nothing of substance that's being done, then you have to take it with a grain of salt and try to hold his feet to the fire as to, all right, you're doing these concerts, you're selling this merchandise, but how is that affecting us in our community? Show us where, these things are going to be addressed. Show us that, you're helping maybe the educational system, we're getting more money for funding or something. That should be done. Because right now, this looks like a money move. You're making money with the NFL. You've basically marginalized Cap in the sense that they're no longer even going to talk about his issues, and we're not getting nothing out of it.
Okay. That definitely addresses the corporatism part of this episode and how we can look and take actions to hold them accountable. I think I'm going to address, as a call to action, the social activist side of this episode. And I think by that, one person who should speak about moving beyond the knee should be Colin Kaepernick. So I guess to know what we should do next from his point of view, he would need to speak on it, right? And by that I mean, what tangible action can he suggest and can he kind of rally around? So you had all the support, you had a lot of support, you have a lot of support. We need to move forward. What is moving forward like? Should we just keep kneeling, or what is his view of what's next as far as the movement, right? Do we stand up now? Do we walk? Do we sell merchandise representing the movement? Does funds go to the movement? That's what I'm saying. So I guess my call to action is for people to ask Colin Kaepernick, where should the movement go? You're the grandfather of it. You started it. You've gathered a lot of energy, a lot of support for it. And instead of other people telling us that it's over and to move on, we should hear from you as far as what you would like to see or what actions you'd like to see going forward.
Sounds good. We definitely need to know where he sees it going and, how we can take it to the next level.
Exactly. And that's not something that we need to hear from Jay-Z. That's not something we need to hear from the NFL. That's something that we would like to hear from Colin Kaepernick. And that's something that we can all do ourselves. I mean, just being aware of what's going on in the world. We've always told our listeners to find like-minded people, find organizations that are doing the work that you agree with, and help them, support them. And hopefully that'll move things forward. But, Big Roops, anything else you want to say to our listeners?
Just in your own life, remember, time is fleeting. You see an opportunity, take advantage of it while you have the opportunity to take advantage of it. And if you see something, say something in regards to any different aspect in life. And in the words of my father or our father, keep the faith.
Keep the faith. Well, I think that sums it up, everybody. Keep the faith. See something, say something, help out any way you can. And I'm Sean P.
I'm Big Root.
This is The Brothers.
I'm tired of the same rap songs. Every new hit's just to fucking sing along. Rappers so boring, now correct me if I'm wrong. It's like they took the art out the fucking art form. What's going on, man? I don't understand it. I want something good to listen to, I demand it. All the real artists on another planet. And me, I'm the last MC still standing.